10 games between these two teams and we cannot find a difference. One game remains, FNATIC versus G2.
People fear what they cannot understand. The summoner's ring.
One game left. Last week it was G2 who came out on top, reverse sweeping FNATIC. Today it has been back and forth, game to game, and we have just one that remains. Early on, FNATIC looking to get some river control down towards this bottom side. Hylissang actually going to taunt across the wall, dodging away from that ward, and they will use the Oracle's alteration to spot it out.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. G2 trying to be very sneaky about their early vision, make sure they can catch out some of the bizarre gank pass that Perkz has, or maybe we'll say aggressive. They catch the ward, they clear it out, so now there is a clear pathway for Perkz if he decides to visit this kill-oriented bot lane.
Yeah, we can see that it looks like, given the fact that Perkz is actually starting on the top side, means that he's going to be looking to do his blue into Grom, into Wolves. He can then path down towards the bot side and then make his way towards the red. But because it's Olaf, you actually have a lot of options. That would be the safe clear if he wanted to go for it. But because he also has a Renekton on his side, he could even look for an invade. He does have that option available to him, but primarily it will look to put him on the bot side of the map. And as you said, Froth, to look to play through this Syndra thresh line.
Let's see if that is what Jankos decides to do. It's the swap between Wonder and Caps means that you can't really shut down this Ornn as easily as you'd like to, but it does give Akali that free lane that we talked about, a lot of ability for her just to farm up and scale.
Of course, the goal is not really to shut down an Ornn, right? Even if he's 0-5, he's always going to have that ultimate and offer that team fight value, whereas what G2 want to do is exactly as you say, Medic, just give the Akali to freedom to get to that Gunblade and generate pressure on a side, because Ornn will never have kill pressure onto an Akali, whereas once Wonder hits 6, he will definitely have kill pressure onto him.
And it's not even just about the team fight that Ornn unlocks for you, the amount of kind of free gold that he can give to teams through his item upgrades. I think LS has done the math best on Twitter. I'm sure he's tweeting about it right now. Just how powerful he can make your team in the late game when he starts giving you these upgraded item paths.
You see Whipper trading with Wonder as expected, just chipping back and forth. Nemesis trying to get the damage down onto Caps, but Caps has built up that Fury, and Nemesis will have to run back towards his tower. Meek not able to connect, and maybe Perkz are looking for the body slam across the wall.
Yeah, again, very good early vision setup from G2. You can see it down in the river, which means Perkz are trying to use the pathway to slip into this brush or wait for Caps to walk too far forward. But G2 have the read. They know that Perkz likes to do this, and they have invested a lot of time in getting out the early wards to try to catch out these types of ganks.
Now we tracked early junglers, and we can see that Jankos has done an entire clear. He's now hit level 4, and he has arrived at the bot lane. Mickey and Perkz are level 2, they're going in.
Perkz lands onto Hylissang, the Scatter of the Weak will connect as well, and the Ignite is ticking away. One more order would be enough. Perkz flashes forward, first blood to him, and Reckless has to flash away. Perkz unable to come in to save his bot lane.
And that is the offensive execution. The fact that it's so easy to chain the CC. Death sentence into the stun from Syndra, and it's a very easy walk down. That said, Perkz did burn his flash, so there is an opportunity for FNATIC to attempt to punish that in the coming minutes.
Ooh, we got to keep an eye on top lane.
Oh, Wonder's killed Whippo in the 1v1, and now meanwhile in the mid lane, G2 are destroying FNATIC. 3 minutes in, 3 kills, and a 2,000 gold lead.
FNATIC are crumbling right now. Reckless and Hylissang have been the ones to dominate this 2 versus 2 matchup throughout the series. But Perkz goes back to his comfort picks, grabs the Syndra in game 5, finds a kill. They set up the dive in mid lane, the 1v1 happens on top, and let's have a look back at this from Wonder.
Looks pretty straightforward to me,
Looks pretty straightforward. Wonder just straight up kills him underneath the tower. He doesn't need much. All he needs is the damage of Akali. Wonder now sitting with a huge advantage over Bwipo.
And in a series that's been defined by early game leads, G2 getting off to such an explosive start is only good news for them. FNATIC have to find a way just to hamper some of this bleeding, to stop some of this bleeding, because otherwise G2 are going to run away with this game.
And as we got a glimpse of some of those trade patterns up into the top side, I really like how Wonder's using the mobility built into Akali's kit to really sidestep a lot of the CC that Bwipo is trying to put out there, and then just able to trade back much harder, especially with that control.
It looks like just used his flash in that exchange.
Flash.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, of course, because he used the flash earlier on. Thank you very much, Medic. I saw him just standing there, and I was like, wait, what? But yeah, he's going to be fine in that situation. They actually have the push. They have Broxah supporting him as well. We're actually looking for a bit of a trade in the 1 versus 1.
Hillesang caught out. Mickey flashes underneath the tower, lands the hook onto Broxah. But FNATIC will get their first kill. Now the teleport's coming in from G2. They're not willing to give this one without a fight. Reckless caught out. Jankos and Perkz will take him down, and now Caps slices and dices up Broxah. Broxah, no flash. Hillesang will escape to the top side, but Caps will fall. Hillesang uses the blast cone to get back towards the mid lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, you can see Wonder and Bwippo are trading. It looks like Bwippo will survive for the moment, but Wonder has his ultimate if Bwippo stays underneath that tower.
Oh, hold on, Caps. Maybe caught here. Here's Hilly behind him.
Caps are level down. Nemesis looks to steal away that ult. Hillesang coming in for the tour, but Caps slices and dices and tries to get back onto Hillesang. Teleport coming in here as we see G2 looking for a bit more of the fight. Bwippo kills Wonder underneath the tower, and there is action all over the map.
First things first, I want to give credit to Bwippo right there. He really bet and just dared Wonder to look for the dive there, constantly positioning himself between the tower to make the stun easy to land. And as I talk about a dive, here's G2.
Jankos sanks it up with the undertow. The damage coming out from Reckless. Reckless gets that. It's an awful dive from G2, and Reckless happily accepts the kill. The hook doesn't even connect, and Reckless gets on the board.
Now this is what we wanted from a game 5 between FNATIC and G2. G2 start off by dominating, but FNATIC answer back. They're punishing these mistakes that we're seeing from G2. Wonder overextends underneath the tower, Bwippo gets a kill. They tried to 2-man dive Reckless, and he picks up one for himself. The gold's still in favor of G2, but FNATIC answering back.
Okay, we're gonna get another replay of what happened in the top lane. Now this is multiple attempts, and the thing is Bwippo puts himself in this corner, and he's just looking at Wonder. He's like, I dare you. And he puts himself in the corner for that reason. Makes it so easy to hit that. Wonder falls for the bait, and then Bwippo picks up the kill.
So now the problem for G2 is the wave is not underneath the tower, so they can't go underneath altogether, which means Jankos basically just dies to the tower while Reckless secures some last hits. Definitely some peak League of Legends right now.
I mean, the reality is that G2 are feeling themselves, but they do need to respect FNATIC.
Oh, they
FNATIC
do.
are not just going to fall over in Game 5.
7 minutes in, 8 kills on the board, 1,000 gold lead for G2. Let's have a look at some of these CS numbers. You can see a 20 farm lead for Wonder in the top lane. He's about 300 gold ahead. Meanwhile, Caps 600 gold ahead in mid. Those 2 kills he picked up really helping him try and force Nemesis down.
You can continue to see trading up towards the top side. You can actually see Broxah ahead in terms of the gold up against Jankos. And again, we want to remind people that for FNATIC, it's all about mitigating and surviving the early game. Expectations are that G2 would just have an advantage within the first 15 minutes of the game. They have multiple winning matchups. They have lots of lanes set up for Jankos to gang. It is very difficult for FNATIC to actually find advantages in this situation. They can still look for plays themselves, as we see Broxah look for a gank bot.
Yeah, Hillesang went in with a Hex Splash, put the Spirit's Refuge down. It didn't take too much damage there. Didn't really get anything out of G2, but you accept that sort of trade. The hook not going to connect, and Reckless will try and just freeze this wave underneath his tower.
For me, that one's a bit of a head scratcher. Yeah, Hilly does connect with the engagement, but you know, he was very lucky that Mickey didn't hit the death sentence. I think that could have spelled the end for Hilly. I think he acted a little bit too soon before Broxah was actually in position to follow up on that CC.
We can see now that FNATIC actually kind of holding on to the pressure that G2 is trying to implement. We really want to reinforce that FNATIC's whole win condition is to get Reckless into a position where he can carry, and that they can look for team fights, utilizing the on engage, the versatility of Silas in team fights. And now we actually see Bwippo roaming down. No ulti available.
Looking for the damage. Will get stunned up, and here comes Wonder from the side, but Caps locked up as well. Nemesis trying to do what he can in this fight. Caps flashes away, and now Wonder is not in the best of shapes as Broxah comes in from the side. Wonder uses the perfect executions to get away, but Nemesis chases him down. Nemesis is on the board. Caps slicing and dicing forward. Nemesis will flash away. Jankos pops the Ragnarok there as well, but they will not find the connection.
And once again, FNATIC is punishing G2. This is what they keep needing to do in the early game, and they are stepping up. They're not allowing G2 to roll over them, and this is extremely important if they want to stand a chance of coming out ahead in this final game.
But it also feels like G2 are trying really hard to brute force a lot of these plays, and they're not having the proper setup when they do it.
it does feel like that in that mid lane play, they just went for a 2 versus 2. They think that because Ornn is there without his ultimate, that they can come out victorious, but then Broxah joins the fight. It turns into a 2 versus 3. Caps is forced to flash out early because Nemesis steals away the Akali ult, and now that execution damage is available. So FNATIC demonstrating that they can go toe-to-toe. They're closing the gold gap ever so rapidly. And we haven't really seen much of a gank from Jankos over the last few minutes. On this Olaf, he needs to keep up the pressure. They need to keep up the dives. And if G2 keep throwing away these kills, then FNATIC will come into the mid-game a lot more comfortable than they initially were.
Yeah, Jankos hanging around to protect his overextended bot lane right there. Unfortunately, it's only a Cloud Drake, so there's something more valuable like a Mountain or Infernal. I'll hold it, Millie.
Going in, Mickey's going to use the play back. The unleashed power onto Hylissang gets him so low. He dodges away from the Dark Sphere, but you cannot dodge the death sentence. And that is another kill to G2. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Wonder is training with Grippo. Reckless caught out, pops a feather storm, but Jankos is here, and he will smite Reckless where he stands in the top lane. Grippo and Broxah took down Wonder in a 2v1.
And round 2, the dive eventually works for G2 on the bot side of the map that time around. Back to the Dragon. I may have to hold it though because we're still fighting. Here comes Hilly, round 2, 1v2 Caps.
Dominus stolen away as the Stand United comes in. Caps trying to win the 1v2, but there's not really much you can do. Another shutdown comes out for FNATIC. There's 1,000 gold between these two teams, but the action is unrelenting.
Blood continues to be shed as FNATIC find 2 kills to answer the G2's 2 of their own. G2 will pick up some planks, but Nemesis may be able to do the same as he's pushing in mid. They're going to disengage, they're going to look to reset for now, but as we jump into the replay, we see Wonder sitting in the top, continuing to trade against Grippo. He's very far up in the lane, even knowing that Jankos is bot. The ping comes out from FNATIC. They know that the jungler is bot side and Wonder is overextended, so they can afford to make this play. No flash available on Wonder, no ultimate available. They find themselves a kill.
FNATIC do lose 2 in the bottom lane in the trade, but they are keeping toe-to-toe with G2. They expect to be behind at the end of the early game. G2 have an early mid comp. FNATIC looking more for the later portions of the matchup, and if they can stay within touching distance, they could be incredibly strong.
But look at Perkz right now, 3-0-2 on the Syndra. He's level 8, and levels and items mean so much for Syndra, especially in an early game when she can have kill pressure and kill threat on anyone. And Perkz has that. He is very strong right now.
Oh, Hook doesn't quite connect there from Mickey. Hylissang dodging away, the scatter of the weak will hit. Mickey's going to pop the Hex Splash, looking to see if Perkz or Mickey... sorry, Hylissang popped the Hex Splash, looking to see if Perkz or Mickey overextended, but in the bottom lane at the moment, it seems like all's fair in love awards. Broxah and Nemesis looking to come down. Jankos is waiting down the corner near the Krugs. You can see Nemesis fighting as well. Whipper has the teleport. Caps going in. As Broxah and Nemesis force him away for the moment, but Hylissang's so low. Teleport coming in here. Him on the FNATIC. It's going to be Whipper joining the fight. You can see Jankos trying to do what he can. Whipper comes in and Mickey's so low, but the counter teleport's coming at him from G2. And now FNATIC are collapsing in the fight. Whippo caught out 3 kills to G2, and FNATIC can do nothing about it.
FNATIC falter in the early skirmish. They do get an answer back onto Mickey, but it is only table scraps as G2 walk away with 3 kills. The defining factor in that fight was that Jankos was there first, but Broxah's not done.
Broxah looking for the kill here, doesn't have the ultimate, but Reckless is on his way as well. Wonder coming in from the side, still has the flash and the stun, will connect onto Broxah. Wonder takes the kill. The Dragon goes down to for G2 as well, and maybe they'll look for the dive here. Reckless needs to back away. He will escape to live another day.
I think they've pushed their luck right now. They know that they're sitting on a lot of gold. They've just picked up the Drake, so they need to make their reset and again, get even stronger than before. Taking a look at the replay, you can look at multiple people and kind of the outplays that they make. I do like that when the teleport comes in, that Perkz is able to hit the really important double stun.
For me, what's so important is the fact that on the minimap, you can see the Renekton keeps 2 people busy while Jankos is able to come bot. That immediately generates a numbers advantage, so it becomes 2 versus 4. Reckless can't offer anything in this exchange. They don't have the people to fight back, and with G2 having 5 members, they collapse, they find 3 kills.
And now the question becomes, how much is too much? Mickey dies at the end, but if FNATIC are 2,000 gold behind at the 20-minute mark, is it too much? If they're 3,000, how far ahead can FNATIC allow G2 to get before the game is out of their reach?
I think it's also really important where the gold is placed on G2. And again, the fact that it's in the Syndra and the Olaf's hands, we talked about how important it is for Olaf. He needs to get ahead early, so he has play patterns in the late game. And champions like Syndra really only work when they're able to 100 to 0 you, but meanwhile top.
Whippo praying to the Forge God, but there is no one listening. Caps goes 3-1.
So notice that Bwipo has itemized fully towards magic resistance. He, against Wonder, was actually surviving well. But now they swap the lanes. They send Caps top, and against a Renekton and you have no armor, it is very easy for this duo to run you down. Bwipo loses his life as G2 tries to siege onto mid. FNATIC forced on the defense.
And FNATIC are in a really tricky position right now as, like you were talking about G2's composition, you expect them to be strong at this point in the game. Not this strong because kills have gone their way, so that's something FNATIC have to compensate for, but they're not playing weak side well. It's the fact that Bwipo shouldn't have been in that position. You should have known that G2 were rotating towards the top side to play around Herald with no dragon up and available. So they need to respect these macro rotations coming in a lot sooner.
Throughout this series, we've seen one or two players from G2 step up in every single game. Here, it feels like it's all five. Everyone firing on all cylinders, and what a game to do it in. Perkz 4-0-5, chasing a record 6th title. If he wins, he is the only player to have ever done that in EU history.
I do want to mention that FNATIC are grouping up. They're looking for the fight.
Perkz gets onto the lantern! It was so close.
And FNATIC are looking for that fight because, as Betty has pointed out, they're in an issue with their side lanes.
Hylissang hooked up. Perkz does have the unleashed power, won't pop it yet as Hylissang walks wounded away, dodges across the wall. Now Rex is not in the best of shapes as Perkz continues to push forward.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage, and Jankos is unrelenting. He's on a rampage, and G2 are not stopping this game.
Jankos shuts down the carry for FNATIC, and G2 now look to group up in the mid lane. They have the Rift Health. They're trying to snowball this game with the lead that they have, and they need to. They do not want to give FNATIC a second to breathe, and every time FNATIC tries something, G2 is shutting them down.
And the dive potential with this type of G2 composition, if Syndra ever catches someone out because of how far ahead she is, that can be disaster for FNATIC, especially behind a Herald. So they give the respect, they back away, and bleed 2 towers in the mid lane.
Notice how Perkz is sitting at 4-0-6, been involved in 10 of the 13 kills that G2 has found. And it feels like that even though he has become one of the best AD carries in Europe, he is still a mid laner at heart. This is what they needed to take down SKT. This is what they've needed to potentially take down FNATIC in the final game of this best of 5.
Because it feels like the theme of G2 is not just beating you at your own game, but changing the game completely. And that's really what Perkz is doing by bringing the Syndra down here. Kind of back to the bigger point of how do FNATIC play themselves out of this hole, the lane assignments. Ornn has to be very careful where he's matching up because he does have that overabundance of the MR, which means anytime he's facing down Caps, it's a bad time. So Bwipo's looking to push out waves and then find these windows where he can cut back towards his team and start to use that team fight utility. But when they don't find it, you see exactly what happens. G2 just hit them harder with the gold lead at this point.
The thing for FNATIC is they're getting towards the point where Bwipo is, starting to upgrade items. They're getting towards 1.5, 2 items on some of their key carries. Reckless needs to get that rapid fire cannon before they can really have an impact in fight. But G2 are just so much further ahead. You've got 2 items already complete on Perkz. Reckless is going to have to pop the Feather Storm to dodge away from that. But then how do you get away from the perfect execution? How do you get away from Caps? How do you get away from G2 when they are unrelenting?
Well, they don't need to for now because the Dragons are on FNATIC's side. It's double Cloud Spawn, and Baron's not going to be up for another minute and a half. Right now, all FNATIC need to do is put down defensive vision, clear out their jungle, and find safe farm waves.
And you can see it in the top side of the minimap. Look at all these wards that they have littered in their half of the jungle. They want to main that pathway to allow them to challenge the Baron, given that it's spawning in about a minute's time. I promise you that G2 is going to be looking to force this objective because, again, they want to snowball. They don't want to drag the game out too long because FNATIC, if they get to that late game stage, their ability to force team fights is very strong, and it's an avenue with which they can come back to the game.
Right now, G2 grouping up towards this bottom lane, looking for their 5th tower of the game. FNATIC yet to get a single one. Wonder hits the shuriken, the knockback is going to land as well, but the wave is cleared pretty quickly here. And now FNATIC once again try to defend. G2 back away. They realize they do not want to force this too hard. All it would take is one misstep and FNATIC would pounce.
And it's also the fact that they didn't have Caps with them. He was walking up. He does have access to the TP, and they knew that Bwipo was clearing up the wave, but also has his TP. So G2 not testing their luck and trying to put themselves in a disadvantageous fight because, like Verius is saying, even though FNATIC are behind, their ability to 5v5 is still relatively strong if everything lines up for them.
Caps now Hunting down Wimbo. Oh, he's in the shot. He's now found the crocodile.
Really doesn't have that much armor. Cavs takes a lot of damage though. The teleport coming out is still a sign to stand united. Now Mickey, but the boss doesn't quite connect. Hits the minion. Cavs going back in. Counter TP coming out. And now the fight's going to erupt on the top lane because the teleport is behind G2. It's Wonder. He's going in, but look at the damage coming out from Nemesis. The lantern comes out. The Death Center doesn't quite hit, and Reckless is finally joining the fight. G2 pushing forward in the top lane. But Fnatic is fighting back. Whipple jumping in. Killerstang there as well. Look at the damage. It's Fnatic. They find the fight. G2 overstep and Fnatic strike.
And this is the team fighting that G2 had to be careful of. The stars align, Fnatic find the 5v5, and Nemesis and Reckless come up clutch. The Baron is now alive. Fnatic can look to take this one away from G2.
A series of moments, a single team fight in front of the Baron. G2 are doing everything they can.
Box is almost dead. Cavs and Mickey trying to do it. Hillerstang on the front line. Box flashes away, and maybe that means they can't quite do the Baron yet. Nemesis Wonder's on his way up. Hillerstang misses the taunt. Cavs is on the backside of this. He doesn't have the ult, but here comes Wonder. The Baron is too much for Fnatic right now. They cannot do it. Mickey lands the hook. It's only on to Hillerstang. Wonder coming in with a Hextech gunblade. Cavs fighting off towards the top side. He takes down Nemesis. And now Box is not in the best of shape. Wonder jumping onto the back line. Another hook hits. And G2 somehow in a 3v5 take down 3. And Fnatic are going to limp away. Reckless and Twitbo dismayed, devastated as G2 now turn towards the Baron.
How do they keep getting away with this? G2 pull a magic or a rabbit out of a hat right now. They are now on the Baron, and it is Whippo and Reckless left to defend.
Whippo is the last stand. His ultimate is coming up, and Reckless is behind him. Reckless choosing to go back to mid lane. Will Whippo even attempt the steal?
You've got to go for it. You've got to go for it right here. Here comes Crawler Forge God. There's 2,000 HP left on the Baron. G2 waited out, and G2 secure it 22 minutes in. They are 8,000 gold ahead, and they are knocking on the door of the title.
So we can see Fnatic found themselves the perfect team fight, but Mickey and Caps hold the line. Broxer makes a huge mistake by face-checking the brush, and he gets chunked out. Without him threatening the Baron, Fnatic realize they've got to disengage, they've got to turn and fight, they've got to kill these members, but there's a split second of indecision. Nemesis goes on to Caps, thinking he can get this 1v1. Caps has the ultimate available, he's waiting for cooldowns. He shuts down Nemesis, and that's when the carnage begins for G2. He then walks into the face of Broxer, he takes him out, while the 3 members of G2 on the other side are securing kills onto the other members of Fnatic. Fnatic collapse in what could have been the game-changing fight.
And you may not like it, but it's G2's ability to force these split-second decisions. It's not that macro genius that you're used to seeing from the LCK, but it is an LEC and G2 special because they will consistently make the better choice in those tiny moments. That's where they push Fnatic. That was the difference there.
Fnatic turn back into their base. Final out of... sorry. The bottom tier 2 falls. Mid has fallen as well. Top still remains, but inhibitor towers have to be the target here for G2. 2 minutes left on the Baron buff. Let's have a look at how strong G2 are. Spear of Sojourn, Black Cleaver complete on Caps, Ludens, Banshees on Perkz alongside a blasting wand, and now the fight starts in the top lane as Caps tries to slice and dice away, but Fnatic are looking for their fallen teammate. Caps spawns the Dominus, but he will fall. G2 pushing in the bottom wave though, and that will be the deciding moment as Fnatic has to try and get back and defend. The Baron buff minions are doing quite a lot of work. Nemesis clears it out. He manages to keep that inhibitor tower alive.
Good defense coming out from Fnatic. They recognize a small window where G2 weren't quite at the towers yet to then attack Caps. They find that kill where he has no flash available to him, and they're able to hold the line. For now, G2 do not break into the base of Fnatic, and they can buy more time to come back into the game.
Call of the Forge God goes a little bit wide though as Perkz takes the Lantern to safety, but you can see the initial cast pops the Banshees. That could be incredibly impactful as this game progresses. Dragon goes down, it's only another cloud. It means Jankos will be able to run quicker at folks, but probably not going to be the deciding factor in this game.
But you can see the wave being set up, the on-the-way pings for the top lane. The TP is coming in for Caps here, as they're now going to force this wave into the top side.
4 members, still a minute left on the Baron. They should be able to secure this objective as Wonder pushes in the mid lane. Silas has to base, which means that for now it is a 4 versus 4 stun lands.
Key thing is that Nemesis doesn't have TP. He has to walk to this fight.
He's going to mid lane though as Wonder is pushing that in. Whippo chunked out just a little bit. G2 unable to take the tower as of yet. Hylissang stepping forward. G2 realize the Fnatic has gone towards mid, so they reset. They go back towards top, and this should be the tower going down. Now Whippo, his ultimate not available as the tower goes to low half HP. G2 still pushing in. They've got a cannon wave here. Mickey looking for the hook, can't quite land it onto Hylissang, and G2 are still able to defend. Oh, sorry, Fnatic is still able to defend. G2 chipping away. In the end, Fnatic say, okay, we'll give up the tower, but we haven't lost too much from this Baron.
Now, Fnatic are actually just trying to slow down the game, maybe catch out Wonder here.
Wonder still has flash. We will be able to escape from the Twilight Shroud.
Because the recognition is that Fnatic want to absorb as much of the Baron as possible. If they pick the wrong fight and they die, the game is over there. The series is over and they take second seed.
Here they go.
Now they fancy it.
They're picking their fight. They're looking for their moment, but Perkz once again gets onto the lantern. Mickey has been in the right place at the right time so often this series.
Fnatic playing extremely well considering the deficit that they're continuing the chase.
Oh, that's an incredible battle, but the lantern again! Once again, Mickey saves Perkz's life.
And this pick is coming up so clutch for Mickey. Where he fell down at the previous series, he is standing very tall in this Game 5 right now. Clutch lanterns every single time.
I love the fact that Fnatic are able to hold the line against a constantly aggressive G2. Fnatic constantly looking for windows to try and get back into the game, and this was one of them in the top lane. That barrel should have resulted in a kill if it would for this Thresh pick being in the right place, right time, taking his carry to safety. G2 walk away with their lives.
But now, what do they set up for the map right now? You have Infernal spawning in 2040. The Baron probably the next big objective in 130. So it's about the priority of the mid lane, setting up the picks. You have so much pick potential with this amount of CC death sentence as well as scatter the weak. I expect G2 to start moving in, denying vision, and hunting for Fnatic.
But look at this, Reckless already has the upgraded Infinity Edge, the Molten Edge on him. Missile Mask as well on Whippo as the fight begins once again. It was Hylissang who was hooked. Ragnarok was popped by Jankos. The hook misses onto Nemesis, and Fnatic 5 members strong defending this mid lane.
Here comes the engage once again from Whippo.
All of the force gone onto the lantern.
They got him!
With the flash double torn. They've got him! Fnatic strike. They bind 2, and now G2 in a 3v5. They've done this once already in this game. They're looking for the fight. Hylissang coming in from the side, doesn't land the torn. The rest of Fnatic not quite here with the team, and G2 will retreat. They'll back away towards the bottom lane.
Fantastic fight once again from Fnatic. They finally find the play that helps them crack G2 open. They now have push in mid. The Baron spawns in 27 seconds.
And they've been able to stall out this game long enough. We talked about the items. You look across Fnatic, they have all of the items they need. They're feeling much more confident. They know that when these windows present themselves, that they can punish G2 being too far forward, that they're going to immediately pull the trigger. This game will come down to execution entirely. Who gets the first punch? Who finds the right target?
The fight from Fnatic was great. They found the picks that they wanted, but they didn't get a huge amount from it. The Baron, not yet spawned, has just come up, but now Perkz and Mickey are left alive. G2 backed away. You didn't see them lose any more players after the initial engage. So now, actually, G2 still have that river control. They still have this control ward in the pit, and Fnatic need a couple more of those. They're 7,000 gold behind. Yes, they're scaling, but all it takes is one fight, one catch from Jankos, one catch from Mickey to turn this game in G2's favor.
I mean, I frankly think the same thing can be said for both sides. This is a single team fight, a single mistake that will blow everything open.
Whippo fighting against Wonder here. Nemesis coming in from the side as well. The Call of the Force God comes out. Doesn't connect. Wonder able to dodge away with the perfect execution. The rest of G2 are up towards the top side of the map.
That's actually massive. Using that ultimate right before the Infernal spawns. Finally, a decent Drake is going to be on the board in 30 seconds, and we're also playing for the Baron.
Ragnarok in there by Jankos, trying to force Broxer away. Perkz coming in from the side as well, and look at the damage from the Syndra with the Void Staff shredding through Broxer's health bar. And now Fnatic need to defend this top lane. Protobout used by Nemesis just to push it back. Perkz gets another lantern. he will escape in that top side of the map.
What this series of plays has done is it has allowed G2 to gain control over the top side of the jungle. This is going to make it a lot harder for FNATIC to be able to contest the Baron along with this Infernal Drake. So even though FNATIC have been finding these successful fights, G2 still maintains strong control over the whole map.
Rippo's spider senses were tingling as he finds Jankos in the pit by himself. The Stand United coming out. There's no fight on the top side. It's only happening in the bot. And Rippo steals away the Infernal Dragon. Next up, we'll see if Jankos falls as he gets out of the GA. You can see the fight continuing as Jankos flashes away. Now Rippo going in, the teleport coming out as well. And Hillesang goes across the wall. TP in by FNATIC with Wonders already on the killing spree. Rippo takes down Jankos. And look at that. Nemesis is falling at the start of the fight. It's all on Reckless. He's the only damage source left for FNATIC. The G2 stun him up. They lock him down. He goes into the Featherstorm. Rippo trying to do what he can on the front line of this, but he will fall as well. 3 for 1 in favor of G2.
And they don't have Yanko, so it might not mean the turn towards the Baron, especially with Broxa there, but they do have a massive numbers advantage. G2 marching down mid.
FNATIC picked the wrong fight. They spend too much time trying to kill Jankos, allowing G2 to get this collapse, which means that the engage from Whipper wasn't there. Nemesis TP'd into an unfavorable fight, and all G2 are going to do is break into the base and secure their first inhibitor of the game.
They're going to devastate the base of FNATIC here. They'll take one inhibit mid, they'll take the inhibit tower in the top and the bottom lane as well. FNATIC respawning, but the defense just got that much harder.
Yeah, and now the Baron setup gets that much easier for G2. You now have the super minions in the mid wave to work around. Again, all of that pick potential. As we take another look at this one, it almost looks like disaster to start off for G2. The fact that Haley comes in with Whippo, that they're able to force the GA off of Jankos, but he stalls out long enough and G2 get there in time.
And again, look at the setup on the map. We don't have time for the TP. He's just going to come for the top lane farm.
I respect it, observers. I respect it. They were scared.
What was important to note there was how much quicker G2 could collapse on the fight. By the time Reckless joined, the damage had already been done. Thank you, observers, for bringing us back into this one. So we see the initial play. The Infernal goes over in favor of FNATIC. They stick around to try and get this kill. Then the collapse comes out from the rest of the G2 members. And you can see how this is actually a 3 versus 5 or a 2 versus 5 as Nemesis teleports into the face of 4 members of G2. Reckless and Broxa cannot do anything. And this is not the kind of fight that they want to be going for.
Not a great fight from FNATIC as G2 once again come out on top, but what a difference this game is from Game 5 of last week. A 19-minute win for G2 here. FNATIC continue to fight, continue to challenge G2 at every opportunity.
Let's quickly look at the minimap. You can see bot lane in pushing in favor of the side of G2.
Wait, the hook
does land.
Hook lands onto Hillesang. Taunt of Course God comes out. They're looking for Perkz to catch him out. Hillesang has the flash, has the taunt, but another great hook from Mickey will stop him in his tracks.
But now the ulti is gone from Whipper. One of the primary engage tools of FNATIC is unavailable, and G2 are slowly chipping away at FNATIC. They still have plenty of health, but G2 have control over the map.
Yeah, they've got the map control in the bot, and now marching up into the mid lane. FNATIC are forced off without Call of the Forge Guard. They can't approach this.
FNATIC needs to get back and defend because now their second inhibitor is the target of G2's gaze. Perkz going forward, Nemesis tries to get onto him, but he's just
dead!
deletes him! The unleashed power! The force of Perkz straight onto the face of Nemesis, and now G2 with 2 inhibitors taken are gonna back away. They accept the kill, they'll take the inhib, and they'll look straight towards the Baron.
But that showcases exactly G2's mentality about this game. They play this one very close to the chest. They take the single kill, they ping the Baron. They do not overforce this time around. This is Game 5 with everything on the line. They fall back to Baron.
All the pressure now falls onto Broxa. Does he even look to risk a steal? Perkz is hanging outside the pit. He's performing zone control. FNATIC will not take the gamble. This will be Baron for G2 Esports.
33 minutes, 33 kills. A 9,000 gold lead for G2 in Game 5 of the LEC Finals here in Athens. FNATIC have fought every step of the way, but G2 continue to push them back.
And at this point in the game, from G2's perspective, you just get your mid lane pushing, you wait for your super creeps in both mid and bot to do the work for you, and then you can 5-man stack in that top lane wave.
And we'll see if FNATIC can find another moment of just another miraculous moment. See
Let's
if they
just
can defend.
take a moment to appreciate this game 5. We saw the two distinct styles of G2 and FNATIC. G2, the early game powerhouse, they came in with their unique picks, their unique strats. FNATIC went back to what they were so famous for in 2018, their team fighting. While they fell behind in the early game, they found so many successful fights. They looked for another one, the engage falls short. They're now, once again, on the back foot as G2 look to engage, look to end the final, look to crown themselves as the Summer Split champ.
And again, Whippo uses the ultimate. There's no follow-up. It's a huge cooldown missing. G2 are waiting for their moment. It is one last push.
Nemesis chunked out by Wonder down towards the bottom side of the fight, but G2 just care about this inhibitor tower. Wonder pushing in the wave, the super minions on their way. See the stun,
He's in!
the sang, the unleashed power for Perkz, but Broxer goes in, Perkz goes golden, right at the right moment, and now captures jumping on his backline. Nemesis is down, it's all on backline, but G2 have found the fight, they found the kills, they have found their moment. FNATIC are unable to defend, and G2 with 5 players are going to look to close out this game.
Here comes the teleports.
Yeah, Caps is looking to base. The TP is coming in. They're looking to take everything away from the base of FNATIC. They still have the Baron buff. FNATIC did what they could to hold the line, but this is going to be it.
Wonder stunned up, but he is able to survive, and now the Nexus Tower is the target for G2. FNATIC needs something miraculous. They need something from the Forge God himself, but they cannot find it. G2 are pushing in. G2 are taking the Nexus Towers. Reckless gets the Stand United. Yakos almost scored, but he's going to go into the GA, and now Caps is focusing the Nexus down towards the bottom side, and it's like trying to fight as much as he can, but the Nexus is the target, and G2, they take it. They prove with the whole world watching, they are